Hello all, I'm responding to the 914 video. So just a few things. I heard Melissa talk about her client, and the behavior to us always seems really bizarre. Like, why would somebody do that? Why would they, have kind of the hookup or the sexual relations with no feelings? But I don't know if you guys have noticed, but this generation of youth is very different. And even just young adults in general, you have the nature of, your online dating hookup sites. You have the nature of kids being like, hey, I can have sexual relations and it mean absolutely nothing to me, move forward with my life and not think anything else about it. Those of us who are pretty much 35 and over kind of look at it like, not sure, I would want to move in that direction or things of that nature. But that's actually, sad to say, pretty normal from what I've seen from some of the 20-year-olds or even just some of the 17 or 18-year-olds and things of that nature. But also, Melissa had brought up a great point, because if the client is bipolar, then it could very well just be a part of her manic episodes, right? That she's literally behaving in that way when she's in a state of mania, and it's basically going towards, that erratic behavior, her just feeling, like she's on cloud nine, and that's just something she wants to do. So that's what she's going to do. The other thing I wanted to touch on was just what everybody was saying in regards to inflation and how everything is. It is really crazy. And I think one thing we often forget, right, as clinicians sometimes, is this world is ever changing, right? The pandemic literally changed the structure of how a lot of people see even just day-to-day tasks, right? Survival. A lot of people are in standard survival mode. And you're like, okay, not just do I have money to get to work, to school, like, do I have money literally to make it to the end of the week, right? People are looking for that. So a lot of times I think, for years there was kind of this American dream and what that's supposed to look like. And you're supposed to leave your parents' house at 18. You're supposed to go off to college or find a job. You're supposed to do these things. And the honest truth is, now everything has changed a little bit, right? Like, right now we're in this era of trying to get student loans approved, and then this era of getting student loans forgiven. And do you really need college? And even though you can go to college, what can you really do with your degree? And, the conversation that I've heard a lot, which is, the master's is now the new bachelor's. And it's crazy to think that, these youth and children that are turning into young adults, or young adults for that matter, have to kind of navigate that world, because we're not even sure what that world looks like as of right now. I could not imagine moving out of my parents' house at 18 in this day and age, and then being like, okay, survive. Right? Like, it's one thing to be at the dorms, but like, if you're on your own, I don't see how that happens. I literally, the moment I graduated, I was out of my parents' house. I was in the dorm for like literally one semester, and that was only because it was a requirement at Florida State University. And then after that, I had my own place. I was working 3 jobs. I was doing whatever I had to do to survive. But to be honest, rent was not $2,000, you know what I mean? Or $1,600 for a 1-bedroom. It just wasn't that expensive. So it was a little easier to do things. And I was on a scholarship. So, but just basic survival and getting from one point to another. I needed a car to get to the job, right? I needed, those things. So I had a lot more bills than some of my classmates, and just a lot more responsibility than a lot of my classmates. And I think that's where we're at. We're at a point where some of the youth have great responsibilities and some of the youth do not, right? Some of the youth's parents are there and ready to support them, and some of them don't have that. So we have a lot of people falling between the cracks, and it's hard trying to navigate that, and then to also prepare them as a clinician and say, hey, this is the road you should be looking at, or, let's think about these things. What do you think about your future? When a lot of them can't really see past the next couple of weeks.